Okay. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight on a low key special Thursday, the 23rd, a day before New Year's Eve. And I said, you know what, let me just have a show because all the shows should have been done already, but I can't let these mainstream hug the limelight. We've got to come in and to speak and to discuss and to talk about things. And one of the things that I spoke about today, speaking to someone, I said, let us create a show, is Thursday night special at 9 p.m. with myself and guests. What is it that you like to say about 2021 and leading into 22? Do you think people have been treated fairly? Do you think leaders and the media are the ones into this together? They always say we're all in this together. But do people feel like they're in this together? Or only some are in this together? You know, not the people. So that's the real essence of it. So I just want to have a discussion and for people to come in. But without further ado, let me just bring in my good guest Sharika. How are you doing? First, ladies first. How are you doing?
Hi everyone, I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you. And the great Rev, all the way from Jamaica, but in Birmingham. How are you, Gary? Good.
I'm well. Greetings to all, and Merry Xmas or Merry Christmas or season's greetings, which is better.
Yeah, season greetings is what people always say. I just have to say, let's just have this conversation. No sort of strict rules, but as we know, 2021 is on its way out. And I remember when 2020 was on its way out, but I remember when there was 2019 and people are going into 2020, people were saying, I'm going to do this. Great things are going to happen, man, in 2020. And then 2020 came with COVID and everybody just wanted to get rid of 2020. And 2021 came and everybody said, yes, 2021. Now all of a sudden, it's chaotic again. So I just want to ask, what's your overview so far? What's your thoughts as to how things are? And I go for you, Sherika, ladies first. You know what I mean?
What's my
It's a-
overview? It's been an exhausting year for
yes.
everybody. I feel like at some point we've all felt exhaustion. So whether we it was a good because the pandemic or the 2020 was good for some people. 2021 was good for some people. It was a well-deserved rest for some. So whether you enjoyed it or not, it was very exhausting. So that's
Mm,
my view on the whole 2021. Very exhausting year. That's my point. That's my view on it.
exhausting. And Gary,
Then
Well, what can you say? I mean, exhausting, as what Sharika has says. Um, it's been hard work.
yes.
Even though, let's say everybody has been at home working from home, and even with the thought of working from home, people would have thought in the beginning, before all of this, oh, I'd love to work from home because at least, I wouldn't have to get up and go to work, or I wouldn't have to do this, or I wouldn't have to do that because
Yes.
I'm at home. But yet, when it's home, you spend more time on the computer, you spend more time at work because you're not having to go anywhere. And
Yes.
then when you're at home, people then want to go out. Why?
Mm,
Because the interaction that human beings need, we need that interaction with work colleagues and everybody else that is around us. So it's I wouldn't say it's been an easy year. It's been a difficult time. It's been
mm.
a difficult time, but yeah, yeah.
The interesting bit you mentioned there about is the interaction and people missing the interaction because I mean I've worked from home. I've been working from home since 2020, and but I've learned how to address the lack of interaction by enjoying the parks, by interacting with the animals and the birds, if that's an alternative, really. But keeping the level of interaction happening as much as possible with people. But you're right when they say that people who are locked in and scared of coming out at all. And as a result of that, you wonder if something is amiss, because persons who have benefited a lot is the Elon Musk and the Bezos from Amazon. Those guys, they're just going into space every day. You know what I'm saying? But others have not been really successful. The other bit again is that it is deemed at times that the government and the media, and we'll come on to the media later, that they're in this thing together, right? They're all singing from one hymn sheet, but some of the people may not feel a part or like they're in this together. What do you say about that? Anyone can go in. Yeah.
Sharika?
Is the government in this together? Clearly, there's a initiative going on. So
Mm.
I do think that the government is in this together. This is the government is meant to rule a nation, a population of people, and you can only, yes, Sylvan, I can see
in,
you.
in 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 this together with the media. They're in the are they
Yes,
in it are
yes.
they in it with the people, or they're just there's a separation, like, you know?
No, they're in this together because the government needs to rule. You can rule through different ways. This is where I was going with this. Through
Mm.
influence, you have to influence somebody somehow in order to get them to follow what you're doing. And we're all very much engaged in media, whether it's social media or digital or the news. We are all looking on the outside of what's going on around us, because before pandemic, we love to explore the world. We're all very curious nature. We're all curious natured beings.
Mm.
So we want to see what's going on in Afghanistan. We want to see what's going on in Jamaica, in Trinidad, in Barbados. We want to see what's happening in and around us. So by influencing what we see, they can control how we make our movements. So I
Yes.
do believe that they are in this together because they have to be. They have to be. The government cannot just allow the media to do what they want to do. That's far too much power.
Yes.
Because if somebody strays away from what the government initiative is via media, because the government has no control, where the government is lost loses power,
Yes. Yeah.
loses power. So if you think about it logically, it's a no-brainer. But we all can't. We Some things are too easy for us. When something is too easy, you think
Yes.
too
Yes.
easy can't be true.
Mm.
Those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts, Reverend Sylbourne? What do you guys think?
Yeah, my thoughts really is that it will run alongside what you've said, Sharika. I think that the government, there's an ulterior motive behind everything.
Mm.
I don't think anything anywhere at any time happens in isolation. Nothing happens like that. There's always a reason why some things happen. And I really believe that even if the masses do not know, and even the masses within government now, I'm not even somewhat saying the population. I'm more or less saying even if the mass of the government doesn't know what is happening or don't know the plan, there are a few people who do, and it's the sheep following the leader. And so whatever the leader wants, whatever the influencer wants, then that is what is going to happen. And then you've got let us call them the secretary of these departments, the heads of these departments. They have to carry out the edicts, so to speak, of what needs to be done. Because if they don't, obviously, we all know what's going to happen. They're going to be moved out. They're going to be sacked, and somebody's going to go in to repeat and to do what is required of them. The media is the same thing. I heard some months ago, it could be weeks, months ago, and I think it is widely known that the media, no, it was said that the BBC is the political arm of the Conservative Party by way of media. So, so the media is very much behind whatever the governments are doing, whatever the governments well, whatever country it is. In the UK, it's BBC. Let's say per se. In
Yes.
America, it could be what CNN. I don't know.
CNN, between CNN and Fox. Well, let's
Right.
say, Well, in this case, in America, CNN, they say, would be the mouthpiece of the government because they're more democratic, left leaning. And when Fox time with President Trump was that. But I don't know about the BBC. The BBC is a bit confused. And this is why I wonder sometimes, because when you look at the media now, and it is something I keep saying, the media seem not to be transparent and accountable. The media seem not to be given a balance. Because listen, I thought the media was there. Listen, if things are happening on the street, the media is there to say, I was on the street in Whitehall and this was happening there, XYZ. But the media these days shut these things out as if they did not exist at all. So therefore, the question now is, who is the media for? But we all know that question. The answer to that question, the media is for the bourgeoisies and those guys that own it. Is a media there representing what a media should do? Effective journalism. I'm just throwing that on. And Sherika, because you're testing about your system there a while ago, you can talk so I can see if you can see yourself moving. Yeah.
No, my screen is definitely frozen on my end on the side, but it's okay as long
So
as
you
you
need to refresh it when you finish. You can just press the
if I
refresh.
just refresh it now.
Yeah.
Okay, so press the
You-
F button. Okay.
Yeah. You're still there. If anything happened and you come out, you can always just come right back in. So it's not big. There you are. Okay. She can come right back in. Yeah. Gary, you're saying let's okay, she's back.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm
Yeah,
back. I'm
yeah,
back like I never left.
yeah,
Well,
But
exactly.
I
Hi,
heard
Sharika. Welcome to the show. Nice
welcome
having
to
you.
the show. So I heard everything that everyone said, even in the refresh phase about,
Yes,
the media, not being balanced. You're saying the media is not giving a balanced view, but we all have to be accountable for what we consume. There's different variations of the media. And this is what a lot of people that is sometimes, I said this from pandemic one, because we're going into pandemic three. Is it pandemic three we're going into, or
you could say so.
we're
Yeah.
going into pandemic three? I said this from pandemic one. We all have to be responsible for what we consume in our thoughts, in our minds. We shouldn't all inflict this trauma that is presented to us. So this is one of the reasons. And I know in the first pandemic we had the whole Black Lives Matter movement, and I used to say to Sylbourne, I know I'm black.
mm,
Me know this. Nobody not have to tell me I'm a black.
mm, mm.
But consuming so much negativity can again let you have trauma responses to it. You know what I mean? You start acting a certain way, you start feeling a certain way, you start behaving as if this pain is I mean, it should feel personal because we are all black and I understand that. But
Yes,
I kind of filter what I consume when it comes to the media. And I
yes.
feel like if everyone takes that approach, there's tons of different variations of the media. Sylbourne, you've been saying you are the mainstream.
We are the mainstream media. Yes.
That's one set of media. Then you have
Mm,
Al Jazeera, then you have the BBC, then you have Sky, then you have LBC. We should be responsible for what we choose to consume at times, you know what I mean?
that's a
And
good point.
yeah, just realize that it's a choice. No one is putting a gun to your head to watch this stuff. You choose to do it. So that's my view on that.
Gary, that shuts down all the persons who are having questions about the mainstream media, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think I would agree totally with Sharika there
Mm,
in that for the news, I don't listen to BBC. I hardly listen to BBC now. ITV, I would listen for different segments, but
yes,
I usually flip between Al Jazeera and RT News.
yes,
I realize at times that um, that they all have their own different spin on things, and
yes,
um, what RT highlights, Al Jazeera doesn't say anything about, and
yes.
what Al Jazeera says, BBC or ITV does not mention it at all. For
Mm,
instance, I'm sure many of you, well, I know Sylbourne has mentioned it a few times in the past, but there's been demonstrations, let us say, in the city of London. It
yes.
hasn't been told on ITV at all. I don't know
Yeah.
about the ITN news. However, I watch it on Al Jazeera. They highlight it. So you're right, Sharika. We are all responsible to what we listen to, and we can always have a more
Yeah.
broader aspect of the news that we want to hear when we get out of the rut, I can say, to just listening to one news channel. Because when we listen to one news channel, they will feed you, they will feed me, they will feed the population with what they want us to know.
So
And
so
it
this,
can be
yeah.
totally wrong at times.
So,
Totally wrong.
so therefore, what I'm gathering then is the best practice is not to expect a media house to give you everything. It is you who are eating, just like when you go into that supermarket, you are choosing if you want grapes, pineapple, or whatever like that, in order for you to get a good full dose, a diverse dose, so you can have a healthy body, isn't it? I guess that's it.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't eat one type of food. You don't expect to just try the same thing over and over again. So just like how the word is balance, just so you want a
Yes.
balanced diet, you're looking for balanced source of
Mm.
information when you're doing research, when you're looking at stuff in depth, you want to see different views. Now, if you choose to only have one point of view, BBC, because you love BBC and BBC from your was two, it's always been your news source, then it's your responsibility. We fought so hard, not black people, not white people, but humans, bisexuals, gays, straights, whatever, fought so hard to have this freedom of access to different information, freedom of access to this, rights
Yes.
for that. It's the same thing with information. You do
Yes.
need to have that. You have your right to listen to who you want to listen to and be influenced by who you want to be influenced by. Now, for you to just say, oh, it's just this one person shoving it down my throat. Actually, they're not shoving it down your throat.
You're opening up. You're
You're
opening up.
you go in their restaurant and they're giving you what they're serving for the day. So if you don't want to eat what they're serving for the day, you go and you find another place that is serving you what you feel for that day. Some days you might feel to
Yeah.
eat BBC and some days you might feel to eat ITV.
Yeah. But let us go to the BBC bit. But you have to remember this: BBC is also a public body that you and I, whosoever is paying license tax, we pay license for a balanced dose. Isn't that so, Gary?
Yeah, well,
Well, I don't know about the balanced dose, but we pay license.
we've been coerced. We've been coerced to pay them.
Yeah.
Um, I sat down one day and I was thinking, hold on, when you watch, okay, it's very informative. It can be educational, but we pay all of these people to go on safari parks, to go on safaris, to travel to wherever. Who's benefiting from that? Certainly
Mm.
not me. I'm paying their wages. Or we are paying their wages. Who's going to the Amazon? And going into the deepest part of the ocean to know how a little fish that we've never seen in our lives, how it behaves down there. I mean, it's knowledge, but it doesn't affect me up here. I'd like to know that we're living in a world of diverse animals and species and such. But sometimes the BBC really is just another tax. It's just another tax that we pay. That hardly sometimes the things that they show on their channels is repeats,
Yeah.
and to me it has no benefit at all. So sometimes I don't even like watching BBC anyway.
Well, I must say, of recent days, and I've been coming out very strong by saying I find it very unbalanced. I find it very not transparent. I find it just one-sided, agenda driven. But I also say all the while that everyone must have an agenda. I always say that you must have an agenda. When somebody, oh, Sylbourne have an agenda, or Sherry have an agenda. I always say, listen, you better have an agenda, because if you don't have an agenda, somebody's gonna have an agenda for you. But I somehow found myself, like, in the mornings, you'll see the Guardian, whatever, and it's one particular narrative. It doesn't make a difference which one you listen to, it's the same thing. And if you're not careful, it takes you down a particular route, Sharika. So even though you might move from one station to another, you'll be surprised they're actually giving you the same dose, you know. But I think that a lot is in the written. But like as you rightly said, Al Jazeera and GMB giving different perspective. But man, that's gonna be hard work sometimes for people who are so busy to sit down and say, let me
Well,
yeah.
this is the thing. Knowledge is hard work. That's
Mm.
why you seek it.
Seek it, yes, seek, yes.
It's hard work.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why
true.
it's, if you want
That's true.
knowledge, real knowledge, you seek it. Nobody never ever said knowledge, the true, what all of it is gonna come to you. Some will come to you, but those who seek shall find. And I'm not a preacher nor a preacher's wife. I'm a long time in a go church, but I do know that saying. You
The
know what
last go church.
I? Oh God,
Was
don't
at
put
my
me.
father's funeral.
Don't put me on a blast. But the moral
don't
of the
don't don't say it was at my father's funeral, because that's a lot. That's a while now.
Do you know that could be that could be true? That was a long time ago, but that could be true. But yes, no, I went to my sister's wedding after that. But moral of the story is it's hard work because that's why they know not everyone's gonna do it. That's why they know everyone's gonna do it because it's hard work. And like you
Yeah.
said about it, you said a good point, Sylbourne. You said you know, if you look in the Guardian, then you look at BBC, then you look at ITV, it somehow all have the same undertone message. Then it brings us back to the point of this is why we say there's a ruling government that is, you know, that is narrating what we should know. So it's like having a head teacher and having the syllabus. The syllabus of the year is COVID-19. The syllabus of this semester is vaccine, second dose. So there's a syllabus, and like you
Yes.
rightly said, you need
Mm.
an agenda. They've got an agenda. People need to follow it. You can sprinkle a little bit of, whatever else is in the sports is in the papers as well. You
Yes.
can sprinkle a bit of sports, a bit of gambling, a bit of the F1, but ultimately they want you to get the main source of the information. You know what I mean?
Mm. Ladies and gentlemen, for those on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, we're live on talking this Thursday night. I have finished all my shows for this year, but I said I can't let the mainstream just having fun. We are the mainstream media. There's a good news though. I saw today that it's evidence that the Omicron is not is not as bad as Delta. So there's less.
But they've been saying that for the past
saying that for the
w-
past.
4 weeks. When it hit South Africa, right? When it hit South
Yeah.
Africa, and they did what they did down there, they came out with it first to say that Omicron is not as deadly, let us say, or virulent or deadly, as the Delta.
Mm. It
Yet,
is. It
yet,
is.
look what Europe is doing. They're shutting down for what? I mean, Omicron or this thing is just like a flu virus, man. It's just like a cold, a common cold. It's going to spread. And listen to what they're saying
Mm.
to cause fear. All of this is really used to cause fear amongst the citizens. They're saying, oh, 100,000 people have contracted Omicron,
Mm.
more than at any other time during this pandemic. Now, Sylbourne, tell me, man, tell me,
Mm.
really, has any more died other than the six that Boris reported on either early this week or last week? I'm not saying people are not dying, but I'm
Yeah.
saying I'm asking the question: has any more died apart from the
Yeah.
six that was reported on? Because I haven't heard it.
Yeah. It is so important that conversation like this are had, because they keep shutting down these level of conversation a lot when people are asking these questions genuinely, you know, as to the whole agenda, because you realize lots of people Christmas are, well, they can't cancel Christmas. I keep saying to people, no one can cancel your Christmas. Have your Christmas, have a good time with your family, ray. But it takes you down a particular path, and then you wonder, say, something is not adding up. Something is not adding up, Sherika. Is it adding up, Sherika? Can you add one on one and get two in this thing?
It's not adding up for me. You're right.
Mm.
Simply put.
You know, David Chen, Vita, what's you guys on Instagram? You know, coming to the discussion. No, and every time discussion like these are had, I must say to you, just today, and I posted on my page, I said amen to some post, and I don't know which post it is. And Facebook came and said to me that I went against community standards for saying amen. Look, a lot of people are now saying amen on my page. You know what I mean? People are just saying amen and posting amen. I just don't understand this. What if I say amen to a particular post or share something? It is as if to say that you are not supposed to think. You're not supposed to use your analytical mind. I mean, when we went to school, one of the things they taught us about comprehension is the thing to analyze, to dissect.
Yeah, but you're missing the point. You are spreading your thoughts on somebody else's platform. You come at somebody yard. We don't own Facebook. We don't own Twitter. We don't own Instagram. Somebody developed this platform for mass communication amongst the people, and so
Themselves.
they have rule and themselves. So they have rules, and we know one come right what we want right on them wall, wear what we want wear in them yard. Like, people are not having that. So they're saying, look, don't in our community, Facebook community, don't come and say amen over
But
here because
yeah, but it's a con, Gary. It's a con because in order for Facebook and these platforms to have developed to where they are now, is
yes.
because they said to people, "What is on your mind?"
Yeah. It's
Am I
true.
right, ladies and gentlemen, on Instagram,
It's true.
Facebook, and YouTube?
Yes,
That's what they said. What is on your mind?
And
And
then
so,
when he's when
and
he
when you
starts
start to
saying
say what is on your mind, and they become full of people, thousands, millions of people reading what is on people's mind, they get the amount of people that they have now, and they say they can use that now for their advertisement. And now they're going to say, I don't want to hear what is on your mind or your mind. I have the minds that I want to know. And that is what is happening now. They have conned us to the
that's
point
a
where,
good point.
yes, I just found
Very
this out a
good.
while ago. It just came to me. I think Gary prayed and the Lord just said, Sylbourne, drop that one in there.
that's
It's
a very
true.
powerful prayer, sir.
It's
Yes,
very powerful.
it's a con. What is on your mind? That's what they ask us. What
Well,
is on
yeah,
your mind?
yes, they want to know how you tick.
Yes.
Each individual who has their own individual characteristics, character. We all think differently. We have different shades of color in our thoughts. I mean, in that sense, and how we do things. So by responding to you in that way, Silbert, they know how Silbert yells things.
I think, and
Yes,
that
they
is
know how
why
you.
it is so. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, we can
yeah.
hear you.
And that is why it's so important that as we step into 2022, one will have to find ways of how you can actually share your information, share your contents in different ways. Maybe we have to go back to the drum
The kete drum
and the abeng
and the
and
abeng,
go
Sunday
check Chief,
abeng.
go and check Chief Corey in Maroon Town in Campo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, I was thinking while you were there talking,
Mm,
while you both were sharing there, I was thinking that things have changed. The media has changed. The commentators and the interviewers have changed their mode and way of questioning and gaining information.
mm,
And I say this to say that when you I don't know if any of you would remember Sir Robin Day. I don't know if anybody in the ether listening to this at the moment would remember Sir Robin Day. He was a great interviewer. Even Peter Sissons. And,
yes.
you had the other family. I can't remember. One was David and Andrew.
Dimblebys.
Yeah, the Dimblebys.
Yes.
Now, when you look at, and if you can remember others also, when you look at the mode of questioning that they used to give their their their
Interviewing.
interviewees, man, they were under pressure. They used
Yeah.
to put their people under extreme
Like
pressure,
like Paxman.
like Paxman and such.
Mm.
Now, now, when you listen to these people now, they're not questioning them. How they question them is to find out: are you against what the government or what we are trying to push forward? Because if
Yes.
they are listen, if they are going against that, then there's a great backlash by the media. Great
Yes.
backlash. And I think, my friends, that we've got to really understand that the main authorities of our country, if we're just talking about the United Kingdom, that's fine. But if you look at the authorities, the main ones that's trying to push the narrative, they are wanting, as it's being coined, herd mentality.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned herd mentality because they were using that word long time ago,
Yeah.
herd immunity.
Mm.
And it all falls within the same ambit of taking people down a particular path. Herd, quarantine, isolate, shield, fear. And guys, I know I jumped away, but I want to get this one in. And I was watching a prison show the other day. And when the guys were going on bad or something like that, they go, shut down. The governor shut down. Whoom. And once they shut down, or they isolate the bad guy and then they put him in isolation. And I can find nothing positive about those words, even though I could say that, hey, I understand maybe the principle of why they're doing it, but I don't like them, man. That's just me. I think it is mentally scarring people at this time.
Well, people are being mentally scarred. You see, the thing about it, we know the difference. Let's
Yeah.
say Sylbourne, Sharika, myself, and others out there in the ether. We know what is happening. I feel sorry for the babies that have been born in the last probably 5 years, 10 years, and even
Yes.
today, because the freedoms that we have, our children or grandchildren will never have them.
Yes.
We are the reason why there is such a backlash amongst this generation, amongst
Yes.
us, is
Yes.
because we see and we feel the
Mm.
erosion of freedom. That
Yes.
is why that is why there's an outcry of what is
Yes.
happening, because we are sensing that something is not quite right here. If they can sit down in their offices and say, shut down next week, and nobody says anything, then something is wrong. Something is definitely wrong. You never see a herd of animals in the wildlife when they're running from their prey. You never see, like in the cartoons, a lone bull stand up and say, "Well, I ain't moving,"
Yeah.
when everybody else is running up, or an ostrich in the cartoon say, "I'm not running anywhere. I'm going to stand up to this bull, and have a fight." No, there's no question in the herd. The herd moves in one direction, and when the leader changes, the herd moves in the other direction. That is what the governments of our day want us to behave. They want
Mm.
they want it to be said that when they say lockdown, we don't say nothing. We lock down. When they say freedom, there is freedom. When they say wear your mask, you wear your mask. When they say it's
Mm.
free to not wear your mask, they don't want any question. They don't want any resistance.
Right.
You cause a resistance, Sharika, you're a troublemaker. They're
Mhm.
not looking at it to say that you are only questioning because you are feeling uncomfortable. That's not in. That's not a part of their thoughts at all. They just see you as a troublemaker, a dissenter, and you're
Yeah.
going to cause problems in your community. That's what they say.
Mm.
Well,
So,
some people do resist change on purpose because they just, nobody likes change. It makes us uncomfortable. And you and I and Silver, we and the people out there, so most of us have sensible reasoning skills, but there are people out there that go against the grain. And if you've ever been in any leadership position, you'll know, not you, but anybody anywhere. I'm talking to
I
the
understand.
audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone's been in any leadership position, you'll understand that there are some people who will oppose for the sake of opposition.
Of course.
Yes.
Right.
Just because. And so if you have a whole entire, country, you and I might not oppose for opposition. We might oppose because we have logical thinking, reasoning
Yes.
skills, and we want to explore those and see what the options are for us for our future. But then there's people out there that's just don't know what they're left from their right, and they are opposing for opposition's sake and putting other people at risk. So I don't know, it's a very tricky one for me personally. I understand what the term government means and ruling of a nation and of a country, and a lot of people tend to get a full sense of
Yeah.
security and forget that a government is meant to rule your people and your
I want to clarify that bit there, and I think I'm going to take. Um, I'm going to put some holes in that, Sharika. A government is to rule people. A dictator is to rule people. Well. A dictator.
how is no, but it's
Whoa, whoa.
how it's done is what separates it from
Nah,
ruling and leadership from dictatorship is
I,
how it's done. But
I,
overall, each
I,
of them has rulings against your
Hit,
life.
Hitler was a dictator and a ruler that ruled his people. The government in democracy is not there to rule the people. They are there to govern based on the power which the people have lent to them. For argument's sake, Boris Johnson won the recent elections because the people in the heartlands loaned him their votes to get Brexit out. But they have showed him something a while ago with that recent election. Hey, we can take it away from you just like that. And they gave the votes over to the Lib Dems. They didn't give it even to the Labour Party. We have loaned it. So government need to understand that they are not rulers of the people. They are there to govern with the people, in concert with the people. That is why you have MPs at the recent vote for the mandatory thing for NHS staff. Some MPs within the Conservative Party, near to 100 of them, they actually said, we dissented, and even though we are going to be losing, but we have to acknowledge that there are people out there that need to know that they still have a voice inside the House of Parliament. What that means is that the constituents still should have a fundamental role to play. So I do not like the word rule, even though that may be the case still, you know?
Of course you don't like it, Sylbourne. You're a man's man. You're not gonna like hear say nobody I rule you. But I just this is how people feel. People don't want to hear say nobody I rule them and telling them what to do and how to live their life and who they should see and who they shouldn't see and when they should have Christmas and how they shouldn't have Christmas. That is one of the core of the problem. But if we all have a level of understanding, yeah, that when you're at the head of the decision and you are the person that has the Boris Johnson, I was told this yesterday, and I hope I don't implicate myself because I do work in government jobs and stuff.
Mm.
But I was told that most of the MPs are on holiday, which is one of the reasons why they've said, no, do what you want for Christmas. And when we come back, we'll decide because they themselves want to enjoy their own Christmas. They're all on holiday. Apparently, Prissy Patel is somewhere, Boris, they're all on holiday.
Yeah,
So
because it's holiday time, isn't it?
yeah, no, but as in they're out of the country. So when they come back, so the reason I said all of that is to say, when they come back now and said, all right, I'm a feel for just lock the place down now. Sylbourne, you cannot work strictly from home. Don't drive after 5 o'clock. The congestion charge is gonna cost you £15. What do you think you're gonna do, Sylbourne? Go beat your chest and tell them no?
Well, we have to let them know somehow, Gary, that they are still the government who the people have loaned their votes to, and that they. But the unfortunate thing is that you may vote them out and you still get the government in. You get the
Yeah.
Lib Dem, you get and they are lackeys as far as I'm concerned. I see the strongest opposition to anything is really within the Conservative Party.
If I can
Yeah.
say this one thing, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, uh, I know it's not a religious program, and it is very much um, um, a program for all.
Yes.
But I just want to share, if I can just share this one thing with you,
Yes.
in respects to government. I'm going to give you a framework, and
Yes.
it's a biblical framework that I think has set the standard from that time all the way through till now. Now, I know my newly found best friend Sharika
Yes.
hasn't been to church for a long time, and I don't know if she has a Bible at home.
Oh dear.
But 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 if those in the ether also turns to the book of First Samuel chapter 8 and
Mhm.
read from verse 10 all the way down to verse 18, I think it's 8 verses, they will find that when it gives an account of when Israel asked Samuel for a king,
Mm.
and and Samuel, who was the prophet and priest who would give direction to the people, he was very upset about it. And he went to the Lord, and God said, well, don't worry about them. They haven't rejected you, they rejected me as king over them. But God told him to tell them that what the king would require of them. Now, when you
Mm.
look, I'm not going to read it. I want you guys to read it. But when you look at each of the criterias of what Samuel told the people, what the king would require, you can see almost verbatim what's happening today.
Mm.
What governments would require. And the thing about it, government, it can be good because under God there is government.
Yes.
There is government. Yeah. Under man, there has to be government because the law is not for the ones who keep the law.
Mm.
The
Exactly.
law is for the one who doesn't keep the law,
Exactly. Exactly.
to keep them straight.
Keep
So
Exactly.
them in check. Yeah. Mm.
I think there is nothing wrong. There is absolutely nothing wrong for anybody at all to question anything. God made man a free agent. We
Yes.
all know that. Anywhere in this world, even the United States, you look at any human being who who loves to be on who loves to be um um restricted. Mankind doesn't like restriction. I don't care what it is. He wants to
Yes.
be free to do what he wants, even though within
A
um
framework.
you know at within a
A
what did you say?
framework. A
Yeah,
Within
framework.
within
reason.
framework.
Within reason.
Yes,
Yeah.
and within reason. But God made man a free agent, and I believe that yes, we all ought to be able to question why are we having to lock down?
Is
Why
that a
are
help?
they saying what they're saying? Give more detail about this Omicron business, about the Delta, about the
Yeah.
COVID-19. Now, listen, folks, I just want to make it quite clear.
Yes.
I'm not saying that there isn't a Delta 19. I'm not saying that people have not died because friends of mine have.
Yes.
Friends of mine have, and I've been touched by it. I've
Mm.
had COVID 19, if everybody wants to know. I've
Mm.
had to be in my home for almost 3 weeks, couldn't move, you know. Um, thank God I didn't have difficult breathing, but
Yes.
everything else,
Yes.
taste, smell, pains in my joints, the headaches,
Yes.
the loss of appetite. I've had all of that. But at the same time, what I'm saying is that why are people not allowed to question? Are we, to question certain things.
Are
Why?
we on the right track? Is this?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, yeah.
Why aren't we
But who
free
said?
to
Who
make
said?
choices?
No, but who said respectfully that you're not allowed to question? We are questioning. We are creating. Who said that? Who said that we're
Okay.
not allowed?
Well, sometimes, Sharika, by the very act, sometimes by the very action that we hear about, for instance. Now, again, I'm not against being vaccinated or against the vaccination
Mm.
process. I'm not against that. Totally. If anybody wants to, they can. I will never go in. I've never, um, what is it now? Like, film myself. I don't know why some people are filming themselves taking the vaccination. I will
Mm.
never do it. Because by doing it, I'm coercing someone to say, hey, I'm doing it, so you
It's
can do
okay.
it.
Yeah. Mm.
People who are saying I'm not being vaccinated, I reject it. The thing about it, when you listen to certain politicians, they are blaming the unvaccinated
Yes.
for causing what's happening, and that should never, because it then causes certain sections of the population, even though small, as small as it may be, they're then blaming the unvaccinated.
And they're pitted against each other.
So that is in answer, Sharika, to the question you asked. They may not say it verbally verbatim, but their actions, their retort, or their response is, you're not right, it's your fault. Another thing, Silbert,
Yes, please.
before I go on, just 2 seconds, I'll give Sharika a chance
No,
to
no. I
speak.
love to listen to your
Yeah,
view.
yeah.
Honestly, you
Yeah.
can talk
The
as much as you want.
yeah, and I said it a few shows back, if Sylbourne will remember.
Mm.
The unvaccinated cannot travel. The unvaccinated cannot travel anywhere. Fly out, I mean. Yeah, they can drive around, but they can't fly out.
Mm.
It's only the vaccinated, double vaxxed, and booster at times can.
Mm. Mm.
But who's bringing it in? It's not the unvaccinated, because the vaccinated can't travel to bring anything in. It's those who are vaccinated bringing it into the country,
Yeah.
but yet they're blaming the unvaccinated for the rise in
Yeah.
Omicron.
That's
Now,
the point.
Yeah.
that is ludicrous.
Yeah.
How?
And Gary, just
How
to
can we ever think that those who
yeah.
are in, let's say we three, let's say the three of us here are not vaccinated at all,
Mm.
right? We three are not vaccinated in the whole country. Yet the millions out there, they're the ones flying in and out. But yet they come to you, Sharika, and say, "It's your fault. It's your fault why the Omicron is
Yeah.
is um
Yeah.
is spreading because you're not vaccinated."
No, you're right, Gary.
Very good point. That's a good.
It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up in that respect, and that's why I was disappointed with Tony Blair, former prime minister of this great country, when he said that people who are unvaccinated are idiots.
Yeah, I mean,
When I saw that, I said, why are you saying that? You should be trying to harmonize things. Leaders at this time, and we said it many times, Gary, leaders at this time should be somehow trying to harmonize the people, somehow trying to get everybody to work together. As a matter of fact, even apportioning blame to the unvaxxed and vax, that is so irrelevant at this time. Even when somebody might say, if I was vaccinated, I wouldn't have died because I got COVID. I said, how do you know? There's a
right.
thing called providence, which is the hand of God. And I want to go into the Bible bit there because you mentioned about man is a free agent and he likes to cast off restraint. He doesn't like to be in a. Why do you think? Listen, guys, it's so natural. Why do you think people rebel against lockdown, even though they deserve to be locked up? Why do you think when somebody's being police is trying to arrest somebody, they restrict him? Because man naturally hate restrictions. And you know where it come from? I tell you where it come from. It's God. God said to man, go and take dominion over this world. Name the birds of the air, the fishes of the sea. Take control, take dominion. God gave man to do that. So therefore, when man is now trying to do that to man, it's not the right order. It's not the right order, Gary. And that is where the problem, that's where the conflict is.
Yes, yes. I mean, I think that.
Eric, when I say man, I mean man, woman. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm not being sexist here. I mean, man, woman. Same different. He, she, they, he, we, who. You know.
Fair enough.
No, I think there is something different. There, as Sharika pointed out
Yeah.
from the very word go this evening, there
Mm.
is an ulterior motive. There is something behind, and when, as you've pointed out, just Sylbourne, when an influential individual, someone who has held power for over a particular length of time, and whatever he says affects people, when he gets up and says those who are not vaccinated are stupid, then obviously he's unleashing something into the society that
Mm.
people will latch onto, certain people will latch onto it, and it's going to cause a reaction. Remember,
Yes.
um, things do not happen in isolation.
Yes.
Nothing happens in isolation. There's always a beginning of something, and there's always an end to a thing. But we just don't know when this is going to finish. And
Yeah.
it may finish, it's going to get out of control. I believe
Mm.
that this thing is going to get out of control. How much so, I don't know. But I do believe it's going to have a devastating effect on this society.
I can tell you where we missed the boat as to how we could have shut this thing down. But let Sharika say something first before I tell her how I believe we have missed the boat.
No,
You,
I don't want to hear. I'm curious. How you missed the boat?
when I was walking in the park at the start of the thing, and I said it to you, Sharika, because we speak a lot, and I said what they should have done was just leave COVID alone. Don't bother with these vaccine. Just leave it. Let it die a natural death. President Trump, at the time when he was president, and everybody used to attack him. And I always say, guys, the best way to deal with Trump is not to give him ammunition. Don't give him any. Don't keep fueling him. Don't give
Yeah,
him the
don't
fuel.
respond.
Keep quiet, and he will just disappear. And I believe this strongly. I'm no scientist. This is just my gut instinct. I believe that COVID would have just gone, both in business, simple as that. Unfortunately, people would pass away because that
No,
is
but
not,
Sylvan, you're missing the point.
yeah,
Yeah. Remember that COVID, and I'm gonna go into Bible as well. As much
yeah.
as I think I'm the biggest heathen here and the biggest non-church goer here, I'm gonna dip into the Bible right now. Because when I did used to go to church and was forced and was on ministry and all these things, what I do know is that there is a new world order, and we
Yeah.
all have to abide by the new world order.
We
And
all have to.
we're all going to have to, by crooks or the rooks. So what is
Yeah.
happening is the reason why it's taking longer, like you said, rightly so, Reverend, is because there's a lot of opposition. There's a lot of people resisting change. And if you're hurdling, if you ever work with animals, like large animals, like stronger animals than you, animals that can trample you, you realize that if you're trying to push them in the gate, like by you're herding them into one direction, and somebody a flicker and a guan, it takes longer. But if everybody just move with the sequence and go with the flow, like you always say, Silver, just go
No,
with
we
the
don't go with the flow. Don't go with the flow. We don't go
but
with the
if
flow.
but if you just go with the, like, you just list do as you're told, then it will be quicker. But we're not doing what we're told because we've developed a lot of reasoning.
Because we don't want to
Human
be zombies. We don't want to be
We don't want to
zombified.
be zombies. We're not zombies. So because of our reasoning skills that developed over the years, because we've been exposed to different population and the World Wide Web, we can't you can't just hurt us anymore like how you would have normally if this internet sensation didn't take over. So the reason why it's taking longer is because we are not complying as easily as we should have done. Had we complied the first pandemic, we'd all of us would have been vaccine walking around with our little stamp on our, yeah man, but we're not doing that. We're having conversations about it. We're having,
Guy, what is Sharika saying? I don't know what Sharika is saying, guy.
am I in the wrong, Gary? This is for Silver and hate when I
Well,
say these
well,
things.
I mean, Sharika is right. I mean, she's got a point. Sylbourne, she has a point because if
He doesn't like my point.
if nobody was asking questions or whatever, yes, every this country would have been 100% vaccinated. There wouldn't be a
Yes,
Exactly.
problem.
yes,
There
yes.
wouldn't have been a problem. But
Exactly.
but because there's resistance, and
Agree.
yes, there is a one world order that has been that over the many years, probably for the past, let us say, 60 years
Yeah.
since World War Two, the end of World War Two, 1945 till now, there has been a ramping up of the new world order with the formation, as you may, I believe, Sylbourne, you are a little knowledgeable on
Mm.
the about the United Nations being formed and the laws and the govern and um the
The Babylon
with,
system.
with well, the Babylon system, yeah. But that is a world government in
Yes.
and of itself. That is a world government.
Mm.
We've got the health organizations. We've got the labor organization. We have the court of human rights and everything like that. So it's all part of a world government. And I
Yes.
think that
Exactly.
each country, even though we may be different with how we may operate in and of itself, such as United States, United Kingdom, you've got Russia, you've got Iran, Iraq, they all to some extent are under the umbrella of the United Nations, aren't they?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so we're all different, but there is a time, and everybody is getting used to it and talking about it with the Illuminati here and with the Council of Foreign Relations and with all the other bilateral um, parties and committees that are
Yes.
secretive in nature and all of that. There's a time when the whole world must come under some kind of law and order.
Exactly, and this is the agenda, COVID-19. So because and we're
Ah.
not following. COVID-19 is the stimulus, is the catalyst to help us kind of push us into this order. We're not
Okay.
following it because you can only control people through health, education,
Exactly.
and what
Eureka.
else? There's another one. So we come to the yes, Ivan, I'm gonna shut up now.
No,
I'm
no, no,
already
No,
you're
you're
perfect.
right.
No,
I
you're
think
perfect. We're with you. We're with you here. I'm giving you full screen. Keep
you're
talking.
no
hitting.
full screen, no full screen. But yes, ultimately we got there. So by as we come to the closing of this discussion, we got there. We got to the point of it is ultimately so there's a world order, and the reason it's taking long is because we are not complying. There's lots of us who are resisting change, and it's gonna take longer than the government thought. They thought this would have been,
Yes.
oh yeah, everybody get a vaccine because you're all gonna die. They show us death pictures. They show us people putting in body bag, and people were still
Exactly.
sitting there going,
Exactly.
"Show
So
me
Exactly.
something
therefore, so
else."
so so therefore, it's ushering of this order with the
Yes.
herd mentality as
Yes.
well. Fantastic. A good way to end this program, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. But one of the bits that we didn't talk about was, in a quick nutshell, where do you see 2022?
I just want to be mentally happy.
Mm.
I see 2022 a year of repair, a year that people are just trying to put back the pieces from 2020, 2021, because a lot of people are still going to feel the consequences of those 2 years. So I see 2022. Somebody said 2022 is 2020 TOO2. Think about it. It's difficult, but think about it. But yeah, so it's a repairing year, I think,
Okay.
personally.
Say it again, Sarika. Say this
So
again.
if I could type it, so there goes 2020 is pronounced 2022. The 2020 is, let me put it in, pronounced 2020. TOO. Okay, there you go, Sylbourne. So 2020 is no 20. Sorry, it's meant to
Oh,
say 2022 is pronounced 2022.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know. It's a bit silly, but it was thought provoking for me, and I thought, oh my gosh, it really must be the year of repair. So that's my final view on what I believe. I'm not a prophet or anything like that. I need to catch up on my Bible skills, but I do know that I personally have had to repair from those 2 years, and I can see myself still going in repair mode. So
Is that's it? That's how it's pronounced there, which I did there.
pardon.
I just posted it a while ago. Let me see if it can come back up. Is that it?
Hold on, let me put the chat thing down. No. Put 2022 is pronounced 2022. So change that to 2022.
Okay.
Get it? Yes. So it's pronounced.
Okay. I see you're coming from. And Gary, what you see 2022 as? What do you see 2022 as?
To me,
it's going to be a challenging year, isn't it? Yeah.
To me, it's going to be a very interesting year, but I believe also it's going to be a very difficult time. I cannot envision that 2022 will be a year where things will get any better, that things are going to get easier. I can't see that. I can't feel it. And I don't want to be known as a prophet of doom or gloom. I don't want to be seen in that way at all. But I really don't feel that 2022 is going to be a year of happiness, in a sense that, yes, we as families, individuals may be happy. We may be very settled in our jobs, even though we may be at home, we want to be a little bit more free and such. Yes, things may work out well for us. But on a whole, I cannot see 2022 being any easier by what we are having to go through in 2021. I feel that it's going to be a little more difficult, a little bit more difficult, heavier, strenuous.
I see 2022 as a creation of the next wave of pandemics, and the pandemic is going to be government and the media houses. They're going to be can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Governments are going to be challenged. People are going to be challenging governments. Governments are going to be removed, just like the Bible said. Kings are going to be, you set up kings, you remove kings, and you're seeing the shaking going to come very soon. And I believe it's going to be a strong reckoning here for people. People are going to be thinking about, how can I be in a position like this and some government guy go up in front of a dispatch box and make a statement and affects my financial position and my economic status and affecting my children and my welfare. And people are going to say they're not going to tolerate that anymore. And they're going to have a rising up of lots of people, because when I look at Professor Whitty and I look at Farsi in the States, they're not as brilliant as some of these great, eloquent doctors, scientists who are actually saying things. It's just that they're in a position. That's all the difference is. They're in a position. They are not as brilliant as some of these eloquent guys that people have been listening to, who the mainstream media has shut down. But as I said, and my last word is, we are the mainstream media. And I believe that people are going to rise up, and I'll be encouraging that for 2022. So yes, Sharika, I'm one of those ones who are creating a problem.
You're resisting the change.
Resisting fraudulent changes, you know what I'm saying? And things like that. And definitely Gary and I, we're going to be talking about this one, which is going to be crucial, which is God and government. We have to touch on this aspect because, hey, if we're going to go down, let's go down with God. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you.
and we see in church, Sharika.
Invite me, the heathen. Invite me.
No.
What does heathen mean? What does that mean? I don't even know. I keep.
What's that?
Heathen. What?
Ask Gary about that.
Gary don't know. I'll Google it. But it was very nice to meet you, Reverend Gary. Sylbourne, always a pleasure.
Nice meeting you too, Sharika.
Yeah, lovely. And everyone out there, thanks for listening to our talks.
Yes. Let me. Somebody just respond. I was going to say that you're one of the doom prophets. Who's one of the doom prophets? I'm a Gideon. Yeah. James Samuel always says something, but it's a joke. You have to read him properly, All right, guys. Listen, Sharika, you take care of yourself.
You too.
Gary, thank you so much. Hey, guys, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I had said that the last show would have been last week, but hey, we're not going to leave the mainstream media in the room, So there could be a show tomorrow. and next week as well, right up to New Year. We're just going to continue. We're not going to say 2022. We're going to wait till 20. I believe that procrastination is a killer of time, and everybody that says I'm going to start get things going in 2020, 22, you are procrastinating. Start doing it tomorrow or the next second. Am I right? Am I right or am I right?
You're right.
All right, cool. All right, guys, take care of yourself. All right.
Enjoy.
God bless.
God bless. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight, and all the best. Have a good. If we don't see you again, Happy New Year, and take care. Stay well. Go outside, drink some juices. With Sherika, remember what they don't do? They're not telling us how to exercise, and take care of yourself as well. Enjoy the birds. Remember that the woodpecker always pecking, the birds always singing, and the squirrel always going for a nut, always consistent. Think about that. Peace out. Boom.